Greetings, Clownfish. Back with some more tournament games for you. So in the next round, this is game 1 against the board is set. No Treebeard, no cities, no tokens this time. Pure vanilla base. Let's see, we rolled for higher pick. I'm not sure if that's how you're supposed to do it or not, but that's how we did it. So I rolled a 5, and then he rolled a 6 just to one-up me right from the get-go. And he chose to be Free Peoples first. So here we go. So I start with Horde from the East and Breaking. Okay, they're not great cards. They're not bad. He gets Riders of Theoden and Challenge to the King. Let's see. Okay, so here we go. I do my usual 0 eyes. I roll 1 eye and a few musters, and he rolls 0 movement. So that's just beautiful. That's a perfect start. It's a little bit like if you're going to roll a bunch of Palantirs, turn 1 is the time to do it, especially when you have strategy cards you can cycle. So that's still rolling movement would be better for sure, but it's not an inconsequential silver lining anyway. It does help anyway, getting to cycle a bunch of strategy cards. 1 second, sorry. Okay, here we go. He passes. I muster Saruman to war. I shuffle troops along. He plays Riders of Theoden for the cycle. That makes sense. Then he gets Wisdom of Elrond. I continue the walking, the usual, towards Lorien and towards the Dew Line. He cycles Wisdom of Elrond to muster the elves down. I think that makes perfect sense. And he draws into Celeborn. That's, they saw the army coming. They got ready for it. So I bring in Saruman. He plays Celeborn for the cycling and draws into Fear Fire Foes in the last battle. Then he uses his hybrid to muster the elves down again. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially when it really looks like the Shadow player's going after both the Elven strongholds. Even if he just gets 1 muster next time, there's a good chance he can add another elite to one of those strongholds anyway. Okay, so I get Grond and Threats and Promises. Grond is great, Threats and Promises is not. He gets Through a Day and a Night, and Smeagol helps Nice Master. I do 0 eyes again, so that's twice in 2 turns. That doesn't usually happen. And still 0 eyes this time. He gets 2 movement this time. So that's, at least they're moving this time, and they're not going to get hit, that's for sure. So I put Sauron to war first, because obviously that needs to happen this turn. Then I draw character cards, because what I really wanted to do here, I was hoping to pick up Ring Wraiths or Abroad, which I know is not super likely. It's a bit less than 5% anyway. But if I got it, then I would still have 4 movement, which with this army, so then I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, put Woodland Realm under siege, neatly put the elves to war, and then use the hybrid die here to get the Witch King. So it's just, that would have been nice anyway. So I draw another character card, and there's no Ring Wraiths or Abroad here for me. So that's oh well. Okay, so I shuffle armies along between the Witch King. So I could just besiege Lorien, put the elves to war, and get the Witch King this turn. But then Woodland Realm, not only can I not get there this turn, and they can muster once there, they'll also be able to muster again their next turn, and maybe even another time, depending on just how the dice roll out anyway. So I don't want to do that anyway. So I choose instead to run this army up, and I just won't quite besiege the elves this turn. This means I will besiege Woodland Realm this turn, and he'll be at war, and he'll get to muster into Lorien, and I just probably won't take Lorien this game. So that's going to go. So he moves the Fellowship. Obviously, I can't roll for it. So with my other 2 army movement, I could have brought the North Dunland guy and these 2 orcs over to Dimril Dale, and maybe I should have, actually. But anyway, I brought this army over to Umbar because it's always useful to have them there. Then he moves, gets that extra big Rohan army out closer to Helm's Deep. That always feels good. I tackled Forest Road, no card, and I was very happy to see Confusion here instead of Scouts. Just with all the strategy card cycling he did, I think it's quite likely that he had Scouts at this point. So I was really expecting it. But I roll a hit and not a 1, so that's nice, and he doesn't roll a hit back, so that's very pleasant for me. And he moves again. Besiege Woodland Realm. And the other nice part to doing it this way is that if he did use a ring to move again, then I would be able to get the Witch King this turn. So he, I think, correctly chooses not to. I'm a little surprised he drew a strategy card instead of playing Smeagol Helps Nice Master. I guess just with all the strategy card cycling he's done, that makes it more likely he's going to find, Thranduil, Brand, Dane. So never mind. I think that actually does make a lot of sense. And I just played the red tile because rather not have to throw out that many cards, and it's always nice to have it out there for later. So I chuck Threats and Promises here. That's a very straightforward choice for me. He gets Mirror of Galadriel and Guards. Heat Shocks. Did he chuck? Nope, missed it now. Oh well. Okay, so 1 eye in, and away we roll, and he gets another 0 movement turn against 1 eye. Just nuts. So in these 3 turns, he's rolled a total of 2 movement, and I've allocated 1 eye, the one that I allocated just now, and I rolled 1 on the first turn. So there's been, out of 3 turns of Shadow Dice, only 2 eyes and only 2 movement for the Free Peoples. That's just, that's not a fun start. And it's not a fun start at all for the Free Peoples. So yeah, he goes ahead and musters into Lorien. So yeah, I'm officially not going after Lorien. That is not on the plan here. So I bring in the Witch King. He passes. And I play Grond on Woodland Realm here. And I also play Deadly Strife. This might be overkill. I don't know, probably was. But I guess I wasn't excited about playing Orc Patrol because I'd only have 2 rerolls left. And also, like, he has this huge handful of cards, and I kind of wanted to just blow it up on the first round before he can play any cards to defend himself, because then he's, stuck with this congested hand. So, I don't know, maybe Grondin to Deadly Strife was overkill, but I did what I did. I just rolled 4 hits right away. So, anyway, he rolls 2 hits back. So that's the end of Woodland Realm. Then I draw into Monsters Roused, and I'm always excited if I see Monsters Roused, because there's, in theory, if I also draw Shadows Gather, that's a fun way to jump from Lorien to Rivendell, is if you play Monsters Roused and then Shadows Gather this army over to Trollshaws and then go after Rivendell. That's always a fun way. Okay, so I move armies out towards the Dew Line. I move armies out more towards the Dew Line. So I like how I did this here, of taking Carrick and moving towards Erebor at the same time, because he has to choose now. He can either muster the North to war and kind of force me to attack Dale, or he can bring in the regular to Erebor. I'm not 100% sure which one's the better move. Because I guess if you muster the North here, I'm probably just going to attack Dale. And then... yeah, he has Heroic Death in Advantageous Position. Both of those might work. I think mustering the North might have been better, but it's certainly a reasonable choice anyway to just get that regular into Erebor. So I besiege Erebor. He musters Gondor down towards war, and then I attack Dale. There is a chance that I'm, letting him scouts away and be annoying, maybe an Old Forest Road, but at the same time, I hate when you just waited a couple dice too long and then they play King Brandsmen, and then it's so much worse. So that's why I like to swat that fly sooner rather than later. So I think I'm playing Orc Patrol here just to cycle. Yeah. And I don't get a hit on the 5 dice at 5, but the 2 dice at 6 get a hit, because this game is just funny like that. And he doesn't get a hit back, so that is the end of the North in the Dew Line anyway. Now, if we were playing Loam, like with the Lord's expansion, then he'd have his cool Rangers of the North card, but that, thankfully for me, that doesn't exist in this version. He finishes putting Gondor to war. That makes a lot of sense. So interestingly, I did pick up Balrog. So Durin's Bane always tempts me like, ooh, Lorien, you might just get 3 free hits, but it's still a 1/4/1, so that's still not really an appetizing stronghold. So I muster the Southrons towards war because I don't really have an attack I would rather do right now. Next thing on the menu is bringing this army over to join Erebor, because I'd rather blow it up before Dane shows up. I pick up Ring Wraiths and Shadows on the Misty Mountains, so I think I chuck Balrog here. Yeah, away goes the Balrog. So he draws Kirdans, and Eagles are coming. That's a bit of a tough call. I'm not sure which cards I would chuck here, because they're all good. I think I'd chuck Tom Bombadil, because that seems the least good out of these 8. But the next one is a tough choice. Maybe Eagles are coming. Maybe the Blue Tile. Maybe Guards of the Citadel. Yeah, I don't know. Tough choices. Let's see what he did. He chucked... oh, I didn't even see it. Okay, that was the Blue Tile. Yeah, so he chucked Smeagol Helps Nice Master, and I didn't see what that one was either. Oh, it was the other Heroic Death. Eagles are coming. Okay, so I do 0 eyes again, but I roll 4 eyes this time. So that's a little bit of a splash of cold water on my crazy military start anyway. I wonder stats-wise if I'm still... okay, now I'm up to -0 for eyes. I was surely minus quite a bit before. So he plays... right, I remember this. He plays Mirror of Galadriel now. I don't think I've ever seen someone play Mirror of Galadriel and get the Gandalf redraw after it, because normally people are playing it after Gandalf's already dead. But it makes perfect sense here, because he can move once with the character die, and if he gets missed, then he can use the muster die to move again. And, 4 dice at 6, then 4 dice at 5, very likely of getting hit and killing Gandalf. So I think that play makes quite a bit of sense. The main risk to doing it this way is if I did have Day Without Dawn, I would certainly muster the Southrons and Easterlings to war right now. But I didn't have that. So here's the thinking behind why I did play Shadows here. So I'm, I could muster the Southrons to war and chug along up to Erebor, but I am realizing I have a bit of an opportunity here to go after Rivendell. So I can play Shadows on the Misty Mountains here, and then I can use the other muster to play Rage of the Dunlending. So it'll be 4 Isengard regulars, 2 other regulars. So 6 regulars, 2 elites, and an Nazgul here. Because I could play both of those with the muster cards. And then with the army movements, 1, 2, and then with the Palantir with Ringwraiths abroad, besiege Rivendell this turn. So specifically, if he moves once and doesn't get hit, or gets hit and doesn't get to kill Gandalf, then he's probably going to use a ring on this muster to move again, since he already invested that card into making this Will of the West for himself. So I'm hopeful anyway that if he gets missed on the first time, that I can besiege Rivendell, like with the Elves at War here, without them getting to muster anymore. So that's my hopeful plan for the turn. And if he does get hit on the first movement, then Shadows on the Misty Mountains is still fairly flexible. I could still maybe go do something else. I think if he had moved and got hit, then I would have gone back to plan of mustering the Southrons down and then marching them up to Erebor and carrying on attacking Erebor. So I played Shadows on the Misty Mountains, and he moves, and he doesn't get hit. And I'm very happy to see that. So now I play Rage of the Dunlendings, and I've got those armies together. And then he uses a ring to move again, and he gets hit, and it's a 3, so that is perfect for getting Gandalf anyway. So I moved this other army out of Mordor while I'm at it, because I have 2 other half moves to do something with. And I moved to Trollshaws and to Minas Morgul like that. He brings in Gandalf the White. He brings him in Lorien, which is pretty cool. I'm relieved that Through a Day and a Night already was seen, he already used it for combat, because that would be scarier than with this empty Dol Guldur here. But I'm also happy that I'm leaving a something of an army here anyway. Could he come out and beat me? Yes, but a strong enough reinforcement would get to retreat to Moria anyway. And he also can't go running off and leave just a regular behind, because then I'm going to get Lorien. So anyway, and then I go ahead and play Ringwraiths abroad here to attack Rivendell. So the other nice part about this plan is, since he didn't get revealed, now I have rerolls on the Fellowship here, and if they declare through Moria, rerolls on the Fellowship there. So that's nice anyway. So I pick up Morgulwoon and Corsairs. Always happy to see Corsairs. Very happy to see Corsairs right now. He picks up Deadman and Grimbeorn. Ooh, that's an exciting hand, because he had Challenge of the King too earlier. I think that was the card he threw out that I didn't notice earlier. Yeah, if he'd still had Challenge of the King, Deadman of Dunharrow, there and back again, and Last Battle, that's a hand that's just begging you, put Aragorn in Gondor. Anyway. Let me know in the comments if that random screeching gurgle I just made was a welcome sound to your ears, or if I should please God never do that again. I wonder what else he throws. I'd probably throw out Bombadil if I were him. Yeah, out goes Bombadil. Okay, Fellowship declares past Moria. I think that makes sense. You're stuck with 2 rerolls either way. I mean, you could declare an Old Ford, but you're setting yourself a whole movement back just to get away from rerolls. And this way, at least you're past Moria, so there's no Balrog and there's no extra tile draw if you get revealed. So you are more vulnerable to cards, but you got to pick your poison. Okay, so 1 eye in and another 3 roll. So that's another, that's some more frustrating stuff for me. And he rolls 2 movement and 3 Palantirs. So it's not a beautiful roll for either of us. I think this is slightly better of a turn for the Free Peoples than me anyway. Okay, so he plays Guards of the Citadel. I think he's just getting some cards out of his hand that he knows he wants to play anyway. I think that makes sense. I finish blustering the Southrons to war. He uses the Will of the West to move the Fellowship, and they're safe, which is a bummer for me. 6 dice, you should get a 6 from that, but oh well. Yeah, I think he's referencing. I think I rolled a 2-2-5 earlier. Yeah, that's funny. Then I play Corsairs because I have this Palantir here. And it's kind of just before I commit to what I'm actually working on this turn, this at least lets me see, he mustered Gondor to war by hand. So I'm, not letting him muster in there for free, but he's also cycled a lot of cards. So it's suspicious he might have Círdan or Amrahill. He had Círdan. So now I know I don't need to pivot my Nazgul over and, force Dol Amroth this turn. I might as well finish off Rivendell first while I'm there. So I'll go after Rivendell. 1 strategy card. He plays no card. I'm a little surprised he doesn't play Last Battle there. Maybe he's just given it up as no way this is going to last. That's reasonable. So I play Desperate Battle. I get 2 hits. He also gets 2 hits. I press, I draw into another Desperate Battle, and I play it as well, and I get 2 hits. So, and he gets 1 hit back. So that doesn't really matter. This army's probably not going anywhere. So he moves again. Yeah, he moved again. And he got hit twice, and it's a 2 reveal. So he takes a random, and it's Boromir. So very efficient stuff anyway. Gandalf for 3, Boromir for 2. I smacked down Morgul Wound here because, might as well. It's very appetizing. I'm also just hopeful that will encourage him to keep taking randoms, and that increases the odds of Foul Thing or him taking randoms getting Strider. I'm not really planning on a Corruption win at this point. But it's 2 Corruption for a card that's not good militarily, so that is good value anyway. He hides, and I think I play... No, that's right, I don't play Foul Thing. I move Nazgul here, because I'm heading back to Erebor anyway, and I can get a free reroll in the Fellowship this way. Okay, so Isildur's Bane shows up. So that's also weird. By turn 6, I've already drawn Orc Patrol, Isildur's Bane, and Foul Thing. That's pretty weird. Orc Patrol, of course, I used as a combat card. So maybe I shouldn't have, but I don't know. It's been a pretty easy start on the Fellowship overall, in terms of getting hit anyway. Okay, so 1 eye in, a second eye rolled, and he gets 4 movement. So, it is possible he can get to Mordor this turn. So I'm thinking... how likely is Isildur's Bane and Foul Thing to help me reveal him? Slightly helpful, not super likely to help, though. So, anyway. Moves, and he gets hit, but it's not a reveal. So, he takes a random, and it's Legolas, keeping up his perfect efficiency. Yeah. So, I think about mustering... I changed my mind. I don't even remember. What did I end up doing here? Oh, right. I attack Erebor first. So here's my plan for this turn. I just drew this nice Shadow Lengthens, which is perfect for bringing these units up to help with Erebor. But I also have a muster. And the other double movement I would like to do, because I don't really have a second good one anywhere else on the board except down here. So I'm thinking I would also like to bring this regular out to West Horondor and move 9 of the regulars from Minas Morgul down to West Horondor to help secure Pargir later in the game. So since I'm doing 1 half movement with that, I have to do another half movement somewhere. So I'm thinking that I might as well also move this army from East Rune, and then I'll have more troops that I could bring over. So for that to make sense and be efficient, I think I should actually attack Erebor first. If that was a bunch of nonsense, my sincerest apologies. I am Canadian. I'm very sorry for hurting your feelings. Okay, so I'm attacking Erebor first, and I also get the Psycho character cards this way, and hopefully draw into Cruella. So I picked, I think, Breaking here. Yeah, Breaking against Shield Wall. So I forfeit 3, and I get 1 hit, which is perfect for demoralizing against their useless Shield Wall. So I decide to press, again, just hoping to whittle them down. I pick up Lure of the Ring. I play it again right away. He plays Sudden Strike. He misses. I get 1 hit. He also gets 1 hit. So that's okay. That's not great, not bad. He says I didn't lose. Yeah, because both the other strongholds died in 1 die's attack anyway. So yeah. So he moves again, and he's safe. So that's a bummer. 3 dice at 5, like you would expect to hit, but oh well. So now I play Foul Thing, because now I'm starting to panic that like I need him to get revealed more, otherwise he's gonna get to Mordor this turn. So I play Foul Thing, and it's an eye. So frustrating stuff. So he moves again, and he gets hit, but it's another not revealed. So now he's unless he moves again and doesn't get revealed, and I draw into Cruel Weather, now he's making it into Mordor this turn, which is a bummer for sure. So now I'm going back to my military plan. So he moves again, and he gets only hit by the reroll, and it's a 1 reveal. So yeah, now he's in Mordor. He managed to move 4 times this turn. At least it is a 1 reveal into a 3, and he takes the random, and it's Strider. So that is a bit of good luck for me for sure. That's going to slow him down a bit next turn. But yeah, interestingly enough, continuing that efficiency. Yeah. So now I move the regular to West Horondor and that army to East Rune. He confirms that the dwarves are not at war, because I think he sees my Shadows Gather coming, and if the dwarves were at war, he would love to muster in Iron Hills just to make that not work for me. I was also a little worried that from Osgiliath he might attack West Horondor, because then that would mess up my Shadows Gather, unless this regular somehow managed to beat the 2 of them. But he doesn't, and he passes. Like, to be fair, that's a very obscure thing to miss. That's I feel like a lot of people can miss that anyway. So now I do Shadows Gather. I move those non-regulars over and those armies over. They finish putting the dwarves to war since they conquer Iron Hills as they go by. He passes. I attack Erebor with the hybrid die first in case I do conquer it in one round. Then I can use the character die to move my leadership out off to Dol Amroth. Okay, so I'm playing Isildur's Bane for the combat cards. He doesn't play a card. A little... I guess maybe he's saving Daylight for, what do you call it, for a strategy card. And he's saving Imrahil for playing defensively. Okay, that makes sense. So I get 2 hits. That's okay. He gets 1 hit. That's a good deal for me for sure. I press, and I draw into a red tile, so clearly I can't play that as a combat card. No card, no card. I get 2 more 6s. So ends the dwarves and the dew line. Okay, so he musters up in Pargir and Lambden. That's entirely reasonable. Okay, so I bring my leadership down to Dol Amroth / Pargir there. West Rondor. He picks up Wizard Staff. What a useful card. How strong. How powerful. I get Many Kings and Palantir. Those are both perfectly reasonable cards. You just pick up another one? Oh, no, you're right. Imrahil was... he already had that one. Okay, yeah. Okay, so in goes the eyes, the 2 eyes that were drawn, and the red tile. Was it 2 eyes? Oh no, it was only 1 eye. That's a different game I'm thinking of. Yeah, okay. So it's an okay hunt pool. It's not fantastic. Like there aren't any, there isn't any juicy file out there to get, but it's okay though. And he's in decent shape, net 0 corruption. So if the tiles are cruel, he could still die. If they're nice, he could race up there pretty fast. Could go either way. Yeah, so we're just noting here how at turn 3, like at the end of turn 3, he had only moved twice, and he still made it to Mordor in 3 rounds after that. So like it's turn 7, and he's starting in Mordor right now. So he moved 8 times in 3 turns. That's pretty good. That is pretty darn good. Like that's a shockingly impressive comeback. Like I remember being unnerved that it was even this close. Like after that second round of no movement, I was like I'd better win this. Like I'd better win this. Okay, so I put in 1 eye and I roll 3 more, so that is not lovely. And he rolls a bunch of movement. So when you need to just barely hang on and race up the Mordor track, this is exactly what you need. You need the Shadowed player to roll a lot of eyes so that they can't win, and you need a bunch of movement so he could get to step 2 or 3 and then dunk next turn. Because it's very unlikely he'll be able to hold me off for 2 more turns. But because I rolled so few attacks, there's a good chance he can hold me off this turn. Like it's certainly possible anyway. So he hides, and I play the red tile here. I was really not sure if this was the right call or not, because I do have a ring to use. So this could have been a 5th attack or bringing in the mouth instead of the red tile. But specifically because I rolled all these eyes and the fellowship is not in that great health, like having that extra red eye in there for him to hit this turn would have been really juicy. So that just tempted me a little too much. So he goes ahead and moves, and it's a 1. So... yeah. Frustrating for me because there is 6 tiles in there that were good for him and 6 tiles in there that were bad for him. So 50-50 anyway. So I guess that's not actually that bad. But I think 1 was actually the non-revealing 1 was actually the best tile for him to draw though. Maybe the 2 or the 3 is actually arguably better because it helps him race down to Gollum that way. So anyway, he takes a random and continues the perfect efficiency and draws a Hobbit. So that's I don't know if there's an achievement for perfect efficiency of killing companions, but there should be. So I go off attacking Dol Amroth. It's certainly still possible I can win this turn. If I conquer Dol Amroth and Pargir, then I win, because Rivendell and the Dew Line are so far away, like there's no way he's reconquering those anyway. Like the closest is Lorien, that's like 5 spots away. So anyway. So Dol Amroth, and I'm cycling Palantir. He plays Valor. I get 3 hits and then 1 more. So 4 hits from just a cruel as death is like really good. That is just, yeah, that's frustrating stuff for sure. And he gets 2 hits back. The 4 is a hit from his Valor too. So I press, naturally, why wouldn't you? Like I was a little worried he might have Imrahil. So yeah, and he did in fact have Imrahil. And also, obviously, if I can finish Dol Amroth this turn, then I have enough dice to bring both of these armies here. Like, he has a muster and 2 attacks, so he can bring a pretty sizable army out from Minas Tirith to fight over Pargir here. So, anyway, I press, I draw into Candles. That's a very interesting card for helping to corrupt the Fellowship. Also good for fighting in Pargir. I play many kings here because Great Host is very likely to work now. Against Daylight, oh yeah, he saved it for a strategy card and ran into Great Host. That feels bad. I roll 1/6 anyway. That's about expected. He rolls 0 hits, so that's a bummer. And then 1 from the Great Host, so I press. One last round to play. Dread and Despair obviously doesn't help me here. No card, no card. I get my 1/6. He gets not a hit back. So that certainly went very much in my favor. That was a very lucky siege for me. And he points out here that like just how absurdly well all the sieges have gone, despite me being -3 on 6s. Yeah, and it's funny. Like the statistics tell you a lot about the luck of a game, but they certainly don't tell the whole story. The action dice, like when they came in relation to each other and what was happening on the board, and also I think more important than the dice are the cards for winning combat. Anyway, like just getting Deadly Strifes and Desperate Battles and stuff; those help a lot. Say to myself all the time, Deadly Stripes win games. Like that's just a phrase in my head now. Which usually is to reassure myself, no, don't play Horde from the East to get 5 regulars, save it for a Desperate Battle, or a Deadly Strife anyway. The real temptation is Return to Valinor. I always want to play that one for the event. Anyway, he musters in Pargir, which makes a lot of sense. At first I was expecting him to muster in Minas Tirith, but you might as well have those guys there to, fire another shot on their way out after I take Pargir. So I decide to lead with the Witch King first. So I'm going to use my 2 dice to bring him to here and then attack Pargir. And then he'll probably be ready and he'll probably attack me and beat me off. And then I'll retreat to West Horondor and use my last die to re-attack and take Pargir. That's the plan. So I'm using up this army first because the leadership is with it anyway. So I get to do more card cycling too since the Witch King is here. So I attack Laemden first. The downside is if I had attacked Pargir first, this regular wouldn't be able to retreat to Pargir. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted this leadership to be the one that defended Pargir first so that I could, just have more leadership efficiently being in play while those regulars are dying. So he scouts his way to Pargir. I'm bummed about that. He brings his army out from Osgiliath. So I thought here about attacking Osgiliath because then he has to choose where to retreat. If he retreats to Pargir, then I just get Minas Tirith. But if he retreats to Minas Tirith, then this army can't possibly defend itself. But what I realized he could do is he can retreat to Lasarnek, and then he'd have to use a ring on this character die to put 1 regular back in Minas Tirith and then move the rest of the army to Pargir. And I think he would have probably seen that because he's a pretty good player. And also the other downside to that is that now I've used an attack. So now this big army is here and only one of these armies has a die left to attack. So that's why I decided that was not the correct way to play this. So I attack Pargir from the Witch King first because I get to cycle cards here. So I use the Dread and Despair, forfeit 3, and I roll 1/6. And he rolls that. So I'm really, really glad I played Dread and Despair. So that 6 and 5 and 5 all don't count. That's very lucky. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like I played the card on purpose, but just like seeing the value that it bought for me is you don't always get to see it. So I get to redraw into a card that I can because I was all excited because whatever this card is, I'm going to play it and then I'm going to cycle into another new card. Then I'll retreat and I'll get to attack again and cycle another card. But it's like one of the only completely unplayable cards here. So just like, I guess not one of the only. Like Devil Ray Vorthink and also the red tiles would be unplayable here. I think most of the rest of them I could have played them. Anyway, so he attacks me in Osgiliath. He has, let's see, 7 plus 6, so 13 hit points to my 8, but I have the defensive edge and 5 leadership. But I'm expecting to lose this battle, probably with like 2 regulars, and then retreat to West Horondor and then re-attack. That's the plan here. But of course, if he just rolls good enough dice, he could still just hang on another turn here, and then he'll have 5 dice and a ring to try to dunk with next turn. So anyway, so he uses Imrahil for the shield wall. He gets 1 hit. I get 3 hits, so -1, 2 hits back. He presses. I officially don't have my defensive edge anymore. No card, no card. He gets 2 hits. I get 3. Like, that is the leadership coming into effect, right? So I stay. Like, there is a chance he could get 5 hits to kill the Witch King here. It's not very likely, though. So I'm safe to stay for at least one more fight. Anyway. And he gets 2 hits, and I just casually roll 5 hits like it's no big deal. It's actually, I was a little disappointed when I saw that, to be honest, because that's so much lamer of an ending. Like the Witch King just decided, you know what, I'm gonna murder everyone, and he just got out his chainsaw and mowed everything down. Like it's not even close anymore, you know. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So no card, no card. He gets 1 hit. I get 2 hits. Press no card, no card. He gets 1 hit. I get 1 hit. So that's the end. So turn 7. Military win where, despite the slow start, he was threatening a ring victory next turn. Like, probably not, but it's certainly possible anyway. So yeah, I think that was a pretty close game for how it started anyway. A good one. So let's take a look-see at the statistics. Overall, -1 on 6s, but +4 on 5s for me. So that's pretty good luck. -2 on hits for him overall. +3 on attacks for me. Although, interestingly, every single mustering a nation down I did was with a hybrid die because I had so few musters. Yeah, like I got Saruman with a hybrid die too. So in that sense, that I'm kind of negative on attacks, but I'm certainly not complaining overall about my luck here. I think I got luckier on action dice and on cards, and certainly in that final battles in Dol Amroth and Pargir. Yeah, so that was game number 1. And I will probably put up game number 2 for you sometime soon. Thanks. Bye.